Hey, Mike Gillette. Today I'm going to talk about why is there so much suffering in the world. Sounds pretty daunting. Suffering. Well, let's recast that straight away. What do I mean by suffering? I'm not talking about physical suffering. I'm talking about emotional suffering. People feeling bad. Why are there so many people feeling bad in the world? My belief is that people feel bad because they're not good at feeling bad, or they're afraid of feeling bad. If we're afraid of something, we tend to avoid it. I think that for the most part, we are conditioned, at least in Western society, to treat bad feelings as the enemy, as something to be avoided whenever possible. And I think this is a frame of reference that starts out very early in life. So imagine a mother is at home and a tearful child comes home from kindergarten. And she says, "Oh, Jimmy, what's the matter?" And she learns that someone at kindergarten class said something mean to Jimmy. So mom says, "Oh, I'm so sorry that Billy hurt your feelings." So let's stop right there. Billy hurt your feelings. No, he didn't. He said something that Jimmy didn't like, and Jimmy's reaction, because Jimmy is 5, was to be hurt emotionally. It made him feel bad. It made him sad. It made him mad. Who knows? But in any event, we're not judging negatively the emotional responses of very young children because they're very young children. But we establish this idea that, oh my goodness, this is a problem, number one. So the kindergartner looks at things like this as a problem. We sort of absorb the externally imposed attitudes of the trusted adults in our lives when we're very young, and we sort of build our worldview based on that input. And the next thing that could happen in that exchange is, well, is there anything mommy can do to cheer you up? No. Okay. We'll say in this case, mom had some ice cream and there was a good temporary solution. It's delicious and it's also very distracting. Now, if we look at that, it seems so innocuous. Can I do something to cheer you up? Well, no, you can't actually. But it creates the idea that other people can cheer you up, or other things cheer you up, and the way to deal with feeling bad is to immediately look for the cheer up, the solution, which is not feeling that way anymore. And we sort of reconstitute those experiences enough time that we carry them forth with us into adulthood, and then we become adults who are very much uncomfortable with feeling bad. We fear it, we avoid it at all costs, and then we use grown-up solutions. We drink those problems away, at least temporarily. We medicate those problems away temporarily. We lose ourselves into distracting activities, be they sex or gambling or whatever. And for the moment, the brain is distracted and is not focused entirely on feeling bad. Now, my belief is that we shouldn't seek out opportunities to feel bad, but we shouldn't be frightened of them. I mean, what is feeling bad, really? Well, it's sort of a subcategory of emotions, and your emotions are your emotions. They are your feelings. If you're afraid of your own feelings, that's not going to be helpful to you in the long run. That is not the basis for a resilient, resourceful, emotionally strong person. So imagine that our kindergartner was feeling sad, and mom finds out the reason that he's feeling sad is because his goldfish had just died. Now, instead of looking for ways to cheer him up, how about some ice cream, or we go to the store and get another goldfish? What if that mother said, "So you're feeling sad, huh?" And Jimmy says, "Yes." And it's like, well, it's normal to feel sad when we lose something that we care about. Jimmy doesn't say anything, because what do you say when you're 5 to an observation like that? But you're hearing it. I said, well, I know you're sad right now, and there's nothing we can do to bring that goldfish back. How about if I just sit here with you for a while and we could just be sad together? I don't think that's the approach that a lot of parents would take, because I think that as parents, and I've been a parent, I've certainly fallen prey to this attitude that, oh, a kid's feeling sad, we need to fix that. And so we look for ways to fix that. And what we do when we do that is we miss out on opportunities to learn, or what we might call teachable moments, where we could reinforce the idea that, sometimes we feel bad. I mean, in life, is it reasonable to expect to feel happy most of the time? I don't think so. Not unless you're medicating yourself a lot or distracting yourself a lot, and you're really just not connecting with the world in a very meaningful way. To be engaged with life is to risk disappointment, part of the richness that is life. So, what I recommend for anyone that I work with is to sort of look for those situations which are unique to you, that have a predisposition towards potentially making you feel bad, or they're just what I call emotionally risky situations for you. If we use the ubiquitous cliche example for adults of public speaking, well, if that's your phobia, then look for ways to lean into that. And therapists refer to that as exposure therapy, or desensitization, or any number of words, but it's not something that most people wouldn't figure out on their own. The more you do the thing, if you're afraid of water, well, get near the water. Okay, start putting a small part of your body in the water. Eventually, a little bit more. Next thing you know, you're standing up to your neck in water, and it still may make you a little bit uncomfortable. You may never get to the point where you just love water, but you can certainly get past the point where you're terrified of water. We have bad feelings, for reasons. Something is going on. It will never develop any sort of understanding about ourselves if we're constantly moving away or running away from those feelings. We feel bad so much of the time because we're just not very good at it. We don't practice it when the opportunity presents itself. So the next time you're feeling bad, how about if you just feel bad, and don't immediately think that the way to handle this is to change the subject, run away from it, get drunk, what have you. Just be sad for a while. Feel those feelings, and eventually you won't feel those feelings anymore. And the more that you do that, the easier it gets, and certainly the less daunting, the less overwhelming the prospect of feeling difficult emotions. That's a phrase I got from sports trainer Craig Sigl. I love that phrase. Difficult emotions, not bad emotions, not negative emotions, but difficult ones. They're just a bit more challenging than the other obvious ones that are easy. It's easy to feel happy. Not so easy to feel scared. Not so easy to feel stressed. So when you have those feelings, just kind of have those feelings. Eventually, by feeling your feelings, you'll actually be on your way to being a stronger person. It may seem counterintuitive to put that much of an emphasis on feelings, but what we ultimately do is we de-emphasize our feelings in the process. We de-emphasize them in the context of having lots of control over us. And we can just simply regard them as feelings, as the same way that we would easier feelings to have. Now, don't suffer needlessly, but don't be afraid to suffer.